Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. FLA boss responds to parliamentary opposition's call for his removal. Dog attack concerns in St. Elizabeth. And later in sports, reggae girls off to winning start in World Cup qualifiers. I'm Krista Campbell and here are the details. Chief Executive Officer of the Firearm Licensing Authority, FLA, Shane Dalling, has responded to calls for him to be fired from the state agency. Opposition spokesman on national security, Peter Bunting, made the call after Mr. Dalling's damning allegations this week about corruption at the FLA. Mr. Dalling addressed calls for him to be removed from his post while speaking on the morning agenda on Power 106.
What the FLA needs is a proper system supported by procedure, policy, and legislation. And those are being put in place at the moment, right? So the fixing of the system is not an individual person's task or responsibility. It requires an holistic approach. So if Shane Dalling should leave the FLA, it should have a system in place that any single person that goes to the FLA, that the system can stand up, not the individual, the system can stand up to the test of any time.
Residents in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth are calling for the relevant authorities to intervene following several dog attacks in the town. The residents complained to TVJ News that a man is walking around in the town with a pack of dogs attacking people. They say this has been happening for a while. They say they have had enough and want intervention.
I was in the town these past weeks and I told her that one of those dogs rushed me and I kicked out one of them and the guy was coming towards me and I just continued going about my business. Those dogs, they need to do something about that man. There are many people on the road that nobody can walk freely anymore because of them. Our brother dog just attacked us a while ago and the brother almost went over here a while ago and he attacked another man and bite the man and see man if he had throw stone for him.
I would see those dogs eliminated out of the town. Since that man loving dogs so much, chain them up. Since he come out in the town to seek food for them, seek food and bring back food to them. Yes. But don't have them in the town like that. It's a nuisance to people.
Clear sidewalks, have universal bathrooms, and be considerate. These are just some of the things the Jamaica Council for Persons Living with Disabilities say Jamaica and Jamaicans must have in order to ensure the Disabilities Act work to improve the lives of members of that group. Representatives of the organization have started sensitizations to remind the public of the do's and don'ts going forward. Kelisha Williams reports.
Valentine's Day in Jamaica this year was not just about romantic love, but also reaffirmed affection for our fellow citizens living with disabilities as the act that entrenched their rights officially came into effect. But what are some of the changes supposed to look like in order for the law to work in real life? Representatives from the Jamaica Council for Persons Living with Disabilities explained that Jamaicans should now be conscious of how they act, especially when in public spaces.
All of us have faced the economic situation. And if you can go and get very good fresh produce at a cheap rate, why not? So therefore, for persons with disabilities going to the market, right, want to welcome them. So the things in the way of prevent the wheelchair. The person with the cane who can't really see, but still go about and do their business because we're working towards an inclusive society.
The JCPD representative explained that persons with disabilities want the chance to show they are independent and therefore the infrastructure must be in place to accommodate them. Municipal authorities were therefore urged to consider rehabilitation work on parks, markets, and other public spaces as they are responsible to ensure they are accessible.
Have the proper texture or surfacing that the wheelchair would not skid or anything. And then with the retrofitting of the bathroom so everyone can come and use, because if people don't, are you doing that nice market, they want to use the bathroom, everybody should be able to go and use. So therefore, the door, the handle, to pull the door, because persons who are in a wheelchair, you're sitting right, so therefore the handle will probably be up there, so you will need to be able to pull, go in, sewer should be at a certain height, the use of the face basin as well, and the space. So it can't be a bathroom. The bathroom needs to be universal.
The JCPD is responsible for ensuring the objectives of the law are carried out. In addition, under the law, a tribunal will also hear complaints from persons with disabilities who claim to have been discriminated against, following which compensation could result if the disabled person was found to be wronged. Kelisha Williams, TVJ News.
The Hanover police say focus will be placed on the Lucy Bus Park following the recent rise in illegal activities in the area. Head of the police in the parish, Superintendent Sharon Beput, was addressing the latest meeting of the Hanover Municipal Corporation.
We have a suspect in custody, not yet ready to call the name, but we do have somebody in that matter. And also to say, at 5:55 this morning, we had a wounded with intent, which happened in the bus park, and it has to do with one of your members here, right, who's assigned to municipal corporation, and he is presently in the hospital. And we do have a person of interest in custody in that one also. There seems to be some activities lately that is happening there. And before I came, I was dealing with a situation that was pointed out to me, and we are working on that one, and we hope that we can stop it before anything gets worse.
Chairman of the corporation, Sheridan Samuels, is happy that increased attention will be given to the bus park.
This is the second time around now that our staff members, two now of our members of the municipal corporation has been injured within the transport center while at work, and it is really troublesome to us and really concerned. But I'm happy to hear that you have decided that you will pay more attention, because there are so much things happening over there, so much activities happening, and not only at the transport center, but totally behind the market itself, to the other side where you have the Fisherman Village.
Residents of a Westmoreland community want an almost 2-decade-old water problem to be addressed. They say it has become too expensive and stressful to get the commodity. More in this report.
Buckets on heads and in hands. Residents of Kingsvale district in Westmoreland have to use different ways to get water to their homes. They say they have been without piped water for over 20 years. Water pipes and catchment infrastructure are in the community, but they don't work.
Well, we tell how rough this is. I mean, I'm going to live out this year, you know. If we continue with this.
When you tank just bill, we get water on a basic. Over 25 years now since I tank a bill. Can we work on the tank too? You see me? Yeah. And here we used to get water. And when the water come on full, it actually have 2 weeks running through the place. But all of a sudden, when you know what go on.
Oh, so you have heard what's the problem?
No, we don't hear. We hear say pump mash up, we hear say this go on, we hear say that happen, and we hold up a little thing. You see what I say?
And if you look at it now, you say with COVID, and you say water is life. People have to wash their hands regular. And they don't have the water to do so.
The situation is also bad for business.
Well, we run a cook shop, you know, so gradually we make all 6 ships. Sometimes we start from 4 o'clock in the morning.
It costs between $3,500 to $4,500 to buy trucked water to fill a large tank and $500 to fill a drum. And the residents have to spend those sums 2 or 3 times per month.
Normally I have around 12 to 14 drums. So imagine that, how many money I have to spend.
And all of them, you full them one time?
Most of them. I have 7 in the front yard that are full every week because I use it to wash.
The residents believe it is a problem the political directorate can fix if they treated it as a priority.
We want the government, the Prime Minister, to know that. So we need water, because they campaign on it, you know. Yes. The previous government campaign on the water system, this tank. And now we don't see nothing.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And it's time for a break here on the Midday News, but stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Detectives assigned to the St. Mary Police Division are investigating the killing of a businessman. The dead man has been identified as Delroy Hall of Huddersfield. Reports are that about 6:30 yesterday evening, Mr. Hall was at his bar when he was attacked, shot and killed.
I was here and then sitting down, man. Cheer my friend, and we hear 2 gunshots. But through the car, them have something like gunshot. My friend I said to me same time, say, that car they sound a clap sweet. But same time, by the car pass, there's a lady me see a runner come and say, yo, them kill Weber. Them kill Weber. Yeah. Just like that, my father. I wonder what time it happened.
Has been identified as Delroy Hall of Huddersfield. Reports are that about 6:30 yesterday evening, Mr. Hall was at his bar when he was attacked, shot and killed.
I was here and then sitting down, man. Cheer my friend, and we hear 2 gunshots. But through the car, them have something like gunshot. My friend I said to me same time, say, that car they sound a clap sweet. But same time, by the car pass, there's a lady me see a runner come and say, yo, them kill Weber. Them kill Weber. Yeah. Just like that, my father. I wonder what time it happened. Around 6:30 in the evening. Night come down.
It's the 5th murder in St. Mary since the start of the year. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Matthew Samuda, has expressed concerns about reports of illegal sand mining in sections of Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth. The National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, and the Commission of Mines conducted a joint site inspection of Great Bay on Wednesday.
First, and what it appears from preliminary investigations, is that where the dunes would have been disturbed and removed is not within an area that is under a mining permit or quarrying license. There is a separate issue of a quarrying license within close proximity, which the government will review and determine the best way forward.
Now, following the visit, NEPA says it will be taking enforcement action for the illegal activity. Mr. Samuda is to lead a multi-agency team on Saturday to review the extent of damage to sand dunes in the area. Once that is completed, he says updates will be provided on Monday. In the meantime, Mr. Samuda addressed concerns about plastic pileup along shorelines. He says waste collection continues to be a major issue because there are not enough financial resources allocated to the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, to collect all the country's waste.
We also have the issue that you have many unplanned settlements very close to waterways, which has forced citizens in these communities where you can't access with garbage trucks in a particular way to dispose of waste improperly. Plastic is just what you see on floats, so it's the more visible part of the problem. But there's a general problem that the government has to find the fiscal space to address.
However, he says the ministry is looking at other ways to address the problem, such as working with plastic manufacturers and recyclers to incentivize plastic collection.
$1, $10, whatever it is, on a plastic bottle, and you get it back when you bring it in. That will reduce the need of the state to actually go door to door to collect, and will ensure that because the material is valuable, people won't discard it in a particular way. And it's certainly within our environmental responsibility to ensure that these items don't enter our waste stream and that they do significantly increase our recycling capacity.
For the latest in the financial world, here's Cody and Barrett with the Business Minute.
The impasse between Russia and Ukraine could lead to higher prices. According to the Planning Institute of Jamaica, TVJ, Director General Dr. Wayne Henry, the buildup of Russian troops on sections of Ukraine's border as a forerunner to possible war and invasion may manifest in further supply chain disruptions. Russia is a major producer of oil and grain, so the tensions may have implications for inflation globally. Thousands of luxury cars have been abandoned on a cargo ship after it caught fire in the Atlantic Ocean en route to the U.S. The ship, named Felicity Ace, was traveling from Emden in Germany before it caught a blaze off the coast of Portugal's Azores Islands on Wednesday. A German newspaper reported that the vessel was carrying nearly 4,000 vehicles, which included Audis, Lamborghinis, Porsche, and Volkswagen, and a small number of Bentleys. Portugal's Navy said none of the 22 crew members on board were injured by the fire. Coming up in the Business Review this Sunday, cutting its way into profits, how innovation has led to a businessman assembling his own cutting machine. And that's it for the Business Minute this week. I'm Cody Ann Barrett.
And now for the top regional and international stories with O'Shane Masters.
In the region, Barbados has received over $2.8 million of the first tranche of financial support for a number of programs totaling some $4.3 million from the European Union as the country tries to cope with rising costs of providing social services amid the COVID-19 pandemic. This is in support of government policy to strengthen social protection agencies and widen the reach to assist the most vulnerable and marginalized in society. In addition, Barbados and other Caribbean countries will be able to tap into an additional €200 million to assist with programs developed over the next 7 years. On the international scene, new COVID-19 cases, hospitalizations, and deaths continue to fall, but the stealth Omicron subvariant is spreading. BA2 appears to be about 30% to 50% more contagious than Omicron, and it's been detected in 74 countries and 47 US states. Japanese researchers say this subvariant needs to be more closely monitored. Based on lab experiments yet to be peer-reviewed, they say it spreads faster and might cause more severe disease than Omicron. In South Africa and the UK, hospitalizations continue to decline. But in Denmark, where it's also the leading cause of infections, the World Health Organization says hospitalizations and deaths are rising. And that's it for the top regional and international stories. I'm O'Shane Masters.
We head to a quick break. Simon Preston will have your Midday Sports report when we return.
Welcome back. It's now time for Midday Sports. I'm Simon Preston. Head coach of the Reggae Girls, Vin Blaine, says he was pleased with the performance of the Reggae Girls as they opened their 2023 Women's World Cup qualifying campaign with a 4-0 win over Bermuda at the National Stadium on Thursday. Despite injuries and unavailability of some core players, Blaine says the team gave a solid display.
Has it now in a prime time position. Oh! 2-0! As easy as that. Here comes the Jamaicans once again now into the area. Bunny Shaw! Who else could it? Once again to Wilshire. Gets it back fortuitously. Serves it up now for Khadija Bunny Shaw. Twisting, turning, has it on the left foot. Brilliantly done. Khadija Bunny Shaw, right at the depth, gets her double. And the fourth for the Reggae Girls. They lead it now by 4-0.
Meanwhile, Reggae Girls striker Khadija Bunny Shaw reflected on being the captain of the team for their encounter against Bermuda. And of course, the Reggae Girls will next be in action against Grenada in St. George's on Sunday. To cricket we go now as the West Indies fell to India by 8 runs in the second T20 International in Calcutta a short while ago. Batting first, India posted 186 for 5. Virat Kohli and Rishabh Pant both scored 52. Venkatesh Iyer also made 33 as Ruston Chase took 3 for 25. There was a wicket each for Mario Shepherd and Jamaica's Sheldon Cottrell. The Caribbean side were restricted to 178 for 3. India now holds a 2-0 lead in the 3-match series. And at sports time, the Jamaica Scorpions had reached 118 for 2 in their second innings on the fourth and final day of their regional 4-day match against the Barbados Pride at the Kensington Oval. The visitors trailed the Pride by 75 runs. The Scorpions, who resumed on 56 for 1, lost to John Campbell for 16, and Kruma Bonner and Jermaine Blackwood were at the crease on 34 and 43 respectively. Scores in the match so far: Jamaica Scorpions 328 and 118 for 2, and Barbados Pride 521 for 8 declared. That is where I pull up stumps for now. For your Midday Sports Report, I'm Simon Preston. Krista, it's over to you.
And thank you, Simon. You predicted almost correctly. You said 5-0 for the Reggae Girls, right? They got 4-0.
Yes, there was a penalty that we should have gotten in that game, but the referee made an incorrect decision there. But it's a good start to the campaign, and hopefully momentum starts to build for the game on Sunday against Grenada. Still a long way to go. We need to top our group to advance.
All right, thank you so much, Simon. And that's how we wrap things up here on the Midday News for this week. I'm Krista Campbell. Join us again at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.